What if I told you that sometimes the person who looks least qualified for a job on paper is actually the one who can pull off the most amazing results? Well, today we've got a story about a man who did just that, and it all kicked off with a job ad that he had no business answering.
So let me ask you this. Imagine you're trying to hire a manager to seriously boost your store's sales. Who are you going to bet on? The candidate with the shiny MBA degree or the salesman who didn't even manage to pass 10th grade? The answer? Well, it's definitely not what you think.
Okay, so here's the setup. A supermarket owner needs a new manager, and he puts an ad in the paper. The ad is crystal clear. Only MBA graduates need apply. And with a pretty sweet salary, you can bet a long line of super qualified people showed up. But then, this one guy walks into the interview. The owner asks for his resume. He says, "Don't have one." The owner asks about his qualifications. The guy just says, "Sir, I failed 10th grade." You can imagine, the owner is furious, right? He's about to kick him out for wasting his time.
But the applicant, he doesn't flinch. Instead, he makes this incredibly bold offer. He basically says, look, you want sales, don't you? I am telling you I can outsell anyone you hire. Just give me 1 month. If I do well, you hire me. If I don't, you can fire me and you don't have to pay me a single rupee. The owner, kind of stunned by his confidence, actually agrees.
So, fast forward 1 month. The owner sits down to look at the sales reports, and he just cannot believe what he's seeing. Something absolutely insane has happened to his business. In just 30 days, the store's sales didn't just go up a little bit, they quadrupled. A 4x increase in that short a time, it's pretty much unheard of. The owner had to figure out how on earth this was even possible.
So he starts digging into the data, and that's when he finds something even crazier. A massive 80% of that huge sales jump was driven by one person, and one person only. You guessed it, the 10th fail salesman.
At this point, the owner is completely baffled. He's thinking, what is this guy's secret? So he decides he has to see it for himself. He spends the entire next day in the store just quietly watching this guy, trying to crack the code.
And he watches as the salesman goes up to an elderly customer and sells him the most expensive fishing rod in the entire store. We're talking a 10,000 rupee item that had just been sitting there collecting dust for months. The owner is seriously impressed, but believe it or not, the real magic was just getting started. Just as the customer's about to pay and leave, the salesman stops him. He says, "Hey, to catch those fish, you're going to need this special bait. And then, and you'll want a high-tech basket to keep them fresh." Then he points out, it's going to be a long day, so you'll need food and drinks, a big umbrella for the sun, and of course, some sunscreen. Every single step just flowed logically into the next.
And just like that, what started as one purchase for a fishing rod had turned into this massive sale totaling almost 14,000 rupees. The owner is over the moon. He rushes over to congratulate the salesman.
The owner shakes his hand, all excited, and says, "That was incredible. I've never seen anyone sell like that. You sold our most expensive rod and all this other stuff too." But the salesman just smiles, because the owner, he completely missed the real secret.
See, the owner is making a perfectly logical assumption, right? He's thinking, okay, that customer must have come in here looking for a really good fishing rod. The salesman just did an amazing job upselling him.
But then, the salesman drops the bombshell. The customer had zero intention of buying a fishing rod. In fact, he wasn't there to buy anything even close to it. Get this. The customer walked in on a Sunday morning to buy a 5-rupee newspaper. That's it. It was the salesman who saw him and planted a totally new idea. "Sir, it's such a beautiful day. Why don't you go fishing?" That entire massive 13,800 rupee sale was built on top of a simple 5-rupee transaction.
And this right here, this is what the whole story is about. It just goes to show you that when it comes to creating real-world value, a fancy degree on a wall is absolutely no match for a skill that you've truly mastered. So, what exactly was that skill? Well, it really boils down to this. Most salespeople are pretty good at need identification. They can figure out what you already want and sell it to you. But the real masters, the legends, are experts in need creation. They make you realize you have a need that you never even knew existed. They aren't just selling you a product, they're selling you a whole new idea.
And that is the difference. That's how you go from being just average to being a true master of your craft. It's not about pushing things on people. It's about understanding them and creating new possibilities for them. That's what separates the good from the absolutely exceptional.
Now, for anyone who's inspired by this, the source material this explainer is based on actually goes on to suggest a path for developing these skills. It points to a 100-day training program called Bang On in Network Marketing, which apparently covers everything from mindset and human psychology to marketing strategies and business development.
And for anyone who might be interested in that specific program, the source does provide a contact number for more information, and it also mentions that there's a scholarship offer currently available.
Ultimately, this story is just a fantastic reminder that our real value isn't always in our qualifications, but in what we can actually do. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. What's the one skill that if you truly mastered it would be way more valuable to you than any degree you could ever hang on your wall?